glad to have you with us at Coors Field on what could be an historic night for the Rockies as they try and win their 17th game in the month of April, which would tie a franchise record. Their opponent tonight, the Pittsburgh Pirates, who blanked them last night by a score of 3-0. Welcome inside Coors Field as we get set for baseball on a cold and windy night. Let's get you up to the booth with Drew Goodman and George Frazier, where it's a tad warmer. Guys?
It is a tad warmer. It's still not quite summer-like yet.
It's not baseball weather yet, but that's all right. They're going to play.
They are going to play. Jason Hamill's going to take the baseball for the Rockies, and he has been pitching very well, particularly down in Florida. The Rockies needed him to step up. They needed him to go deep into the ball game, and he did that.
He did just what they needed to do. And again, 23 2/3 innings out on the hill. He's 2-1, a very good earned run average. But the reason he had success in Florida, and the reason when he pitches well, he has command of his fastball to both sides of the plate. He has very good command of his off-speed pitches. And, of course, this all sounds natural. If you have all that, you ought to win games. But it's where you put it in the strike zone. That's been the key for his success, particularly in his start against Florida.
Well, Kevin Correa last night, a blueprint for hitting your target and having a good result. It's the first time that the Pittsburgh Pirates have come to Denver and shut out the Colorado Rockies.
Well, it's a long time, too, because you're looking at 70-plus games they come in here and played baseball, and against the Rockies to shut out this offense. It's like Glenn Hurdle said in the paper the day before he got here. He said the ground balls don't leave the yard, and that's what Correa did last night. A lot of ground ball outs.
Well, the Rockies need to pick it up offensively. We've been talking about that quite a bit of late, and we'll chat some more about it when we come back to Coors Field. Rockies and Pirates game 2 of this 3-game set. Way in from the bullpen. We're a few minutes away from the first pitch tonight. The Rockies trying to bounce back after losing 3-0 last evening against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Drew Goodman upstairs with George Frazier. The Rockies have not swung the bats well. The great news, we keep saying it, is they are 16-8. Now, the Rockies' offense the last 6 games, a 165 average, and just 3 home runs, 16 runs scored, but they're 3-3.
Well, what you got to remember out of this whole thing, you woke up this morning, you still got a 3.5 game lead. You're not in last place, even though you haven't hit well, you've pitched well, the bullpen's been good.
Jim Tracy addressed the offensive issue before the ball game tonight.
We have a number of people right now that are in somewhat search mode, and yet we've played 24 games and won 16 of them. In my estimation, that's a sign of a good ball club, or at least it's a sign of the fact that they realize the importance of a lot of other things as far as this game is concerned than just my next at bat.
There is one change in the lineup, one notable change in the lineup. Carlos Gonzalez has been moved from the 3 spot to the 5 spot. Now, Cargo did have a bunt single late in the ball game yesterday. Todd Helton will bat 3rd. I don't worry about this guy. It's a slump. Every player, even the great ones, have it.
Big deal. You know, he's hitting 5th. All right, what beats hitting left out, that's the guy sitting over on the bench. That's those 5 guys. They'd like to be in the lineup right now. He's going to hit. He's just moving down to get maybe a little more pressure off of him. Let Todd go up and assume a role that he's been in before in the 3-hole, and let Gonzalez get comfortable. Let him hit. Let him just go play the game. He'll be fine. His feelings aren't hurt.
No. So the Rockies have 3 lefties in the lineup tonight against the left-hander Paul Maholm, looking to get that offense on track. Colorado and Pittsburgh come on back to a chilly Coors Field. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Ford Edge, class-defining style, revolutionary technology. Ford Edge, drive one. By the fast, reliable, secure, heavy-duty internet from Quest. And by Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. Jason Hamill and the Rockies in their purple jerseys out on the field. Let's take a look at Clint Hurdle's lineup presented by Southwest.com. Very familiar because we saw it last night. Andrew McCutchen will lead things off. He had a bomb last night, but his average beneath his standard, certainly at 207. Jose Tabata, he's been struggling of late. He'll be in the 2-hole. Garrett Jones hit a solo home run yesterday. Neil Walker, Lyle Overbay, Chris Snyder, the former Arizona backstop, Pedro Alvarez, former #1 out of Vanderbilt, Ronnie Cedeno, and Paul Maholm. And Andrew McCutchen's ready to go. Glad you're with us tonight on Root Sports. The Rockies at 16-8, leading the National League West, and the first pitch of the ball game is in there for a strike at 93 miles an hour.
That's one area of the game that Jason Hamill obviously don't want to have innings get started with your leadoff man, but they've hit .455 against him this year.
He goes inside there, 1 ball and 1 strike. George, I know I alluded to the work of Kevin Correa yesterday, but I just thought that was as well pitched a game as we've seen in a while.
Well, the thing was, you know, everybody gets enamored with velocity, and yesterday he was 88.92, most of the time 89.90, but it was the positioning of the fastball. So yesterday you'd rate his fastball very high because of his pitchability and command with it, and his ability to go back with the breaking ball.
This ball's hammered to left, and it is gone. Another home run from McCutchen. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh. That's the 8th time in his still very youthful career that he has led off the game with a home run. The only guy who's done it more in a Pittsburgh Pirate uniform, Barry Bonds, who used to lead off.
He sure did, an awful lot. Well, this is a number we talked about with Hamill, .455 leadoff man. You just didn't expect the ball not to come back. This ball left the yard off the bat of McCutchen in left center field, one of the deepest parts.
And Tabata gets rubbed off the plate. Now this next stat I'm going to run at you is really unbelievable. The Pirates have hit 19 home runs this year. 15 have come out on the road. They've hit only 4 at PNC Park, where they're hitting $199.
Right, hit 259, 260 out on the road. Much better than what they've done there. They've driven in a lot more runs than what they have been able to do. Jason Hamill's given up 4 home runs this year. Every one of them at home. Nothing out on the road. Taking a look at Jason's numbers overall on his 5th start tonight. 2-1. Very good record. ERA looks good. Everything else is there. The opposition hitting .289.
And that's inside. 3 balls and a strike.
Move their feet. Don't let them get comfortable at the plate taking those big hacks like that. Obviously, as a pitcher, you got to protect your part of the plate.
So a full count on Tabata. Tulowitzki's going to get there and throws out Tabata for the first out of the inning. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively. As Tabata hurt himself a little bit, kind of limping back. Cargo Dexter and Seth Smith in the outfield. Jose Lopez again at third. Wigginton's going to set this series out in all likelihood with that oblique strain. Tulowitzki and Herrera, the double play combination. Todd's at first, and Chris Iannetta is behind the plate. Tell you what, Tabata's still having trouble getting back to the dugout.
Yeah, it happened about 3/4 of the way down when he got right to the bag. You can see him pull up and kind of grab it. Of course, the trainer and Clint both watching at the very end of it.
That looks like a hammy or a calf, and that's not good.
Probably going to see Xavier Paul, recently picked up from the Dodgers on waivers, came into the game late.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to run out a guy like Tabata who has a muscle strain. 0-2.
Well, right there at the end of the bag, he is pulled up on it. Didn't really ever grab anything. Just indicated, obviously, his very stiff right leg.
Here's the 0-2. And the fastball's outside, 1-2. Pirates 17-64 out on the road last year. They won only 4 road series the whole season. One of them came here in Denver. And with the win last night, they've won 3 of their last 4 here at Coors Field. No swing. And they're already 8-6 on the road in 2011. They're like 4 months ahead of last year.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, they're halfway there already. Mark Stripmatter, along with Clint Hurdle. Clint in the background and Mark.
Line drive, and Fargo gets over there and makes a nice catch. 2 outs. I mentioned the 4 road series they won last year, 1 coming here. They've already won 3 road series in 2011.
Yeah, nice running catch by Gonzalez off the bat. The outfield was played straight away, which helped him get to that baseball a little easier than what the infield with the big pull swing on for Mr. Jones.
Neil Walker cooled off by Yolis Chassin last night in the Rockies bullpen. He was 0 for 4. He'd come in 11 for his previous 20, a 5-game hitting streak. Thought Chassin's performance, George, overshadowed obviously by the 3-hit work of Correa. That's fouled off because Chassin struck out 8, didn't walk a batter, 2 solo home runs.
Yeah, I don't really, I don't care much about the strikeouts. I could care less. It's the no walks. He made 1 mistake where he got a ball that ran out over the plate on McCutchen, and another ball he tried to come inside fastball on Jones, and he was able to ran back out over the middle of the plate. I mean, the thing I thought, he pitched a brilliant game last night, and unfortunately, I mean, it's any coach will tell you. Jim Tracy and I talked about that in the dugout. You go out and give up 3 or 4 runs in a ball game, you deserve to win if your team hits at all.
Andrew McCutchen strikes again. He goes deep, and the Pirates have an early 1-0 advantage. In left field, so Tabata obviously strained either a hamstring or a calf, back of the leg situation. So Matt Diaz is out there defensively here at the bottom of the first inning. He'll be joined in the outfield by Andrew McCutchen and Garrett Jones. Alvarez and Overbay, the 2 corner infielders, Cedeno and Walker up the middle. Walker, a converted catcher, believe it or not, and Chris Snyder, who's the current catcher. Paul Mahalam has been a lefty that you can count on. He's durable. He makes 30-plus starts every year.
Well, his last win came against the Rockies. You got to remember this, folks. It's a long time ago. August the 23rd, 2007. Since that span, he's a 1-7 overall in his career against the Rockies. This is not a very good number to stare at. With a very high earned run average against the Rockies. It's interesting to note that at home he's 31-25. On the road, 17-35. So it's not just been on the road against the Rockies, it's been against numerous people.
And Mahalam's throw is in time to get Dexter Fowler. Nice idea by Dexter. Get the pitcher moving around early.
The only chance you have here is if a pitcher gets off of the mound, number 1, and then positions the body. Look how he rotated his body to be able to get to the baseball as a left-hander and rotate to make that strong throw to first.
Southwest batting order for Jim Tracy. Johnny Herrero bats second. And Todd Helton back in a spot he has spent most of his career, at least for right now. He's batting third. Tulowitzki, then Gonzalez, Lopez, Smith. Chris Ionetta in the 8-hole. And then Jason Hamill. That's in there for a strike on the switch hitter Jonathan Herrera. Johnny last night 0 for 3 and a walk. He's hitting .333 against left-handed pitching. Hitting .294 against right-handed pitching. Well, when the Rockies score 7 or more in any ball game, make your way to Taco Bell in the state of Colorado the following day between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies Tacos special. And swung on and missed. Johnny Herrera goes down. 2 outs. So here comes Helton to face Mahalan. Esmil Rogers threw that gem in Pittsburgh. Rockies won 7-1 that day. It was Mahalan who was the starter for the Pirates. Todd 3 for 12 lifetime against Mahalan. The 2 guys that'll hit next have done a lot of damage against Paul Mahalan. Troy Tulowitzki 10 for 18 against Mahalan, a couple of home runs, and then Cargo's got 4 hits and 11 at bats, including a couple of home runs against him. Todd rips it down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Into the corner. Matt Diaz won't have a play as a fan ends up with the baseball. So it's a ground rule double for Helton with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Rockies trying to get the equalizer.
Well, a good position to do it because that's where they have swung the bats fairly well, is with 2 outs, a .270 average. With a runner in scoring position, they'll get another shot at it here. The fan grabbed that ball down the left field line, but Helton really just shot it. You can see how far off the line the third baseman Alvarez is. Opened up that for the magic wand of Todd Helton.
So here's Troy, and it's not just against Mahalan in his career, 10 for 18. How about against lefties overall this year? He's 11 for 21. Helton moves up another notch on that doubles list. It's in there for a strike.
Yeah, when you're one shy of a guy named Lou Gehrig and you're 33rd on the list the whole time, you're pretty good. You've hit a lot of them.
I mean, some of the names that he has passed, guys like Frank Robinson. I mean, not just guys who are really good players, the icons of the game.
Fun guy to watch.
Hall of Famer, Hall of Famers. That's in there also.
2 cutters in a row, and what they did, they really started him well off of the plate. So if you're Tulowitzki, you're thinking, is it going to be a sinker away? Is he not going to pitch to me? Is he waiting to get to Gonzalez with the base open? And what's happening is that pitch is coming from the outside to the corner. So that cutter's not getting into this area for Troy at all. It's staying out here on this outside corner and working its way out onto the corner. Hard pitch to stay with for a hitter.
And Mahalan strikes out Tulowitzki with Helton at second base. 1-0 Pirates as we go to the second. Andrew McCutcheon. They lead at 1-0. Lyle Overbay here in the second to face Jason Hamill. Drew Goodman, George Frazier. Check in a little bit later on with Alana Rizzo. Woke up this morning, George. Snow on the ground, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't any downtown. It was pretty nice, actually, downtown. It was like 30.
Eric Cooper's calling balls and strikes. Mark Carlson at first, Tim Timmons at second, Jeff Kellogg is at third base. Here's the 1-1. And this is a pop fly to shallow center field. Troy's going out. And he'll make the catch. Infielders here, middle infielders in particular, have to have very good range going out, drop stepping right or left, George, because of the vastness of the outfield.
Well, you have to. And again, it depends on who you have playing in center field. I mean, you know, back in the day, if you had Jim Edmonds playing so shallow, it wasn't as drastic. But here with Dexter playing deep, you've got to have good athletic guys in the middle of the infield that could get back 25, 50 feet and be able to make a catch on a baseball. They also, in preference, and if you think back, folks, you look not only the speed to get back and catch some fly balls, but you think of how many times you utilize Clint Barmer's arm strength and Tulowitzki's arm strength on plays from relays. Because of the depth of this outfield, you want your strong arm out to make that strong throw to the plate. The Rockies were fortunate with Barmer and Tulowitzki both having strong arms, and now with Johnny Herrera with a strong arm.
Snyder hits this ball in the air to Seth Smith. 2 outs.
Well, if you got a group and you're hunting for a place to play, come on out to Coors Field. What a great place it is. You'll get some discounts and scoreboard recognition when you bring your group out today. Some elementary schools here in attendance tonight. The diocese is here tonight. It's a neat time at the ball yard for your group.
Pedro Alvarez steps up. Alvarez hitting just .203 against right-handed pitching. He's going to play every day. He was the best hitter when he came out of the draft a couple of years ago. He was the best collegiate hitter, hands down, playing at Vanderbilt. Now he just needs, get that first 1,000 at bats out of the way in the big leagues. He's going to hit some home runs. Here's the 0-2.
Well, it's always after you had that experience of coming up the first time and you have any success at all, and you're thinking, hey, this league's pretty easy. It's not that much harder than that Division I school I was playing at, and the pitchers I faced there. I've seen that guy, this guy. Then all of a sudden you learn they find your holes quickly. And they don't get out of them. I mean, they bury you in there, and all of a sudden the bats start to break. You don't start to have what you success you've had in the past as a player. And it's the guys that make the adjustments are the guys that stick around in the big leagues.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And pulled to help, and Todd has it. The glove salute over to Hamill as if to say, I'll take it myself. And a strong inning for Jason. Middle of 2, 1-0 Pirates. In with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
All right, guys, thanks very much. I'm out here on 20th and Blake, right in front of the home plate entrance of Coors Field with Dick Reininger, a longtime Denver umpire, and he has a question for you guys in the booth. Go ahead.
I would like to know what your feelings are about McCutchen. I know he's fast and can fly. Will he break everything that Tim Raines has done in the major leagues?
I tell you, he's a Rockies fan, but he's from Pittsburgh, so he has interest in Andrew McCutchen. A great guy to watch. We'll send it back inside, guys.
Well, Tim Raines had a great career. 23 years, a 7-time All-Star. He hit .294. That's down low, 2-0. 170 homers, George, 980 RBIs. Everybody remembers the stolen bases, 808, which is 5th all-time.
Well, that part of it, and a lot of people in Denver remember Rock Raines when he played here in the late 70s for the Denver Bears. I mean, he was a big part of all that Montreal teams who were around. They really enjoyed watching him play.
Off-speed pitch on 2-0, and it's 2-1. You know, here's my thing. McCutchen has a wonderful future, but he's been in the big leagues for about 20 minutes compared to the career that Rock Raines had.
He's got 20 years to catch up. It's a long time.
This ball is hit well to left. Going back is Diaz, and he couldn't make the catch off the top of the wall. And Cargo is thinking about 3. He's going to shut it down, though, as Diaz recovered. Well, that was good to see. That ball was driven the other way. And look at the crowd now. They know he's been struggling. A whole lot of folks are standing up and applauding.
Well, as they should. This is a very good young player, and he needs more support right now when you struggle than when you're going good. So it was a nice sound and a nice reaction off of the ball off of the bat for Gonzalez on a ball away from him and a 2-1 count. His last extra base hit came April the 17th in a ball game. This ball just shy of getting out of the ballpark and over the head of Diaz.
Jose Lopez, I like this. They're not going to have a play. Smart play by Jose Lopez. Not only does he move the runner up, but he laid it down in such a perfect spot. It's first and third, nobody out.
Well, you got to be aware of your surroundings, and that's exactly what Lopez does with the runner at second base struggling, everybody playing deep. And you realized where you see Mahomes fall off towards the first base side with his delivery. Bunted up the third base side, pretty much you're going to have a base hit and you advance the runner. It's a win-win situation for the Rockies.
And now Seth Smith will take his turn. Smith in against the lefty. Something that he earned during spring training. He gets a breaking ball for a strike. Smith 3 for 10 in the early going against left-handed pitching. Smoked the ball against lefties in spring training. When Jim Tracy was asked early on about Smith, would it be a platoon situation? He said, no, not necessarily. And true to his word, he's in there now. The slow ground ball is going to get a run home, and that's a high throw. Everybody's safe, and it's 1-1 as Smith gets an infield hit. Alvarez did well just to stab it with the bare hand. An RBI for Smith is 12th. A 1-1 baseball game. The rally started by Carlos Gonzalez.
Now you get a double off the wall, a bunt and advance the runner. Then you get a ball off the end of the bat with everybody playing back, and the Smith's going to outrun this thing. Alvarez on the season has struggled with his arm. Already 5 errors on this young season. This ball wide of first base. Smith picks up an RBI, his 12th of the year.
Chris Iannetta. Chris owns a home run against Mahalan. 3 for 10 lifetime. Rockies held to 5 hits last night. They have 4 already. Maybe the way you break out of a slump, George, a bump, a bleeder, and a bunt, a bleeder, and then a bomb, huh?
Take them any way you can. It's 3 for 3 in the book right now, and you got to run on the board. And what it does confidence-wise, instead of seeing 0 for 4 or 5 in the newspaper, you see a 1 for 4 or maybe a 3 for 4.
Remember how Cargo got rid of the 0 for 25. It was a bunt hit in the 9th inning last night. your windshield is a hurt. George, you ever had a windshield a hurt? A hurt. It's an Oklahoma term. Call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelite.com. 2-1, and it's 3-1 on Chris with Jason Hamill on deck.
Defensively now for the Pirates, you look at this big opening, and I'll start at home plate. You got here, and then you got Alvarez hugging with a pull hitter up. I don't know why Cedeno's pinching so much up the middle. I know you're looking to try to get a double play ball, but when you're throwing cutters in, you can get trouble.
High and deep right center field. Did Chris get it? You got it. 3-run jack. Chris Iannetta. What are we talking about? A bunt, a bleeder, and a bomb. Colorado. Their 8th 3-run jack of the year as a team.
The nice part about it, a little bit paying off for Chris Iannetta. He was out here at 1:30 today in extra batting practice, working on taking the ball to the opposite field. He's now 3 for 12 with the runners in scoring position. None bigger than this 3-run home run to stake the Rockies to a 4-1 lead.
A majestic flight of the baseball there as Jones and McCutchen run out of room. Still nobody out in the Rockies' second. Hamill takes strike one. A double by Carlos Gonzalez, a bunt single by Jose Lopez. An infield hit for Seth Smith to drive in one, and then the home run from Iannetta. 2 strikes on Hamill. McCutchen makes a catch, 1 out. And the Rockies will start over again with Dexter Fowler. Tried to bunt his way on in the bottom of the first. Was thrown out on a nice play by Mahalo. Talk about some of the guys who've been struggling, George. They were all involved. Carlos Gonzalez, Jose Lopez, and Chris Iannetta. Smith was hitting .304 coming in.
Bottom of the lineup, man. All of a sudden that starts to click and go the way you want it to. It can be a lot of fun for a ball club.
Now this is a different view of that home run. This is from top level of the stadium. Looks good from up there also.
Yeah,
on the ground is short. Cedeno. Here comes Jonathan Herrera. A rare strikeout for Johnny, his first time up. Two-strike count on Herrera. Johnny owns the longest hitting streak for a Rocky so far this season. He had a 9-game streak earlier in the month, and this is on the ground to Neil Walker. Very productive inning for the Rockies. It began with a Carlos Gonzalez opposite field double. In fact, it almost got out of the ballpark to left field. And after a Lopez bunt, Seth Smith hit a little bleeder up the line to drive in a run, and then Chris Iannetta got the trot. 3-run jack into the Rockies bullpen. 4-1 Colorado as we move to the third. Ronnie Cedeno will lead it off, and the first pitch from Jason Hamill missed. Hamill's been staked to a 4-1 lead. 8-9-1 in the third inning, and that's right back through the originator. Cedeno leads off the Pirates third with a single. That'll bring up Paul Maholm. This week on Rockies Weekly with Jim Tracy. Catch it after the Rockies game tomorrow, in fact. And you'll get a glimpse into a day of the life of the skipper. The moment he steps out of the cab on the road to the ballpark to his press conference at the end of the evening. We'll also celebrate the 16th anniversary of the opening of this great facility, Coors Field, at the corner of 20th and Blake. Maholm bunts it pretty hard. Helton thought about a move to second, but Cedeno runs well. So a successful bunt by Maholm. With one out, McCutchen will come up. That is a Toyota Tundra out there, George. They
drove it back in again, didn't
they took it out of the garage. They put it back
See, I
up
think
there.
you're not telling me the whole truth.
No.
I think they have a crane. They set it right up on that ramp, and they tie it down.
No, George, they put it inside every night. Text Toyota followed by a space, and then your comments and questions to 720-720. We'll get to that in the sixth inning, and again in the Toyota postgame show afterwards. McCutchen hit a long home run to left center his first time up, so he doesn't get a heater here. He gets a slider.
Then into left center field, but it was in a hitter's count. 2 balls and a strike when he got this fastball, and he drove it again a ball away from him. Last night he went into right center field, this into left center field.
Fort Meade, Florida. That's a strike. I love telling this story about Andrew McCutchen. When he was in 8th grade, he made the high school team in Polk County, the varsity, George. And
yeah,
it
you know, they got a lot of different rules down there in Florida, because you couldn't do that in Oklahoma. I mean, they let you play forever in Florida, huh?
Well, he's an 8th grader. He's on the varsity, and it wasn't just, you know, hey, he's a fast kid. We'll let him pinch run once in a while. If we're up big, he gets in there. He led the entire county in hitting as an 8th grader.
Give you an indication of why he's in the big leagues at a young age.
I mean, is that
he
something
doesn't like
else?
waiting around long. Some probably ought to tell him, though, there's not another league after this one.
Yeah, right? 2-1, and a quality pitch there by Hamill. It's 2-2.
Back-to-back sliders, both 84 miles an hour, and a good result. You got to get up on top, drive this, try to create a couple of planes on this thing, and I think that's why. And it almost looks like a changeup type grip, though. He threw slider up on the board here, but that's a changeup followed up by a slider. Good pitch.
2-2. 3-2. Well, George, one of the many hurdleisms, Clintisms we used to call them, that we heard during Clint's tenure as the Rockies skipper. When Barry Bonds was still playing, he'd roll into town, and he'd say, you know, if he keeps this up, he's going to get called up.
Yeah.
This ball's hit well to right. Long run for Smith into the corner. Catch by Seth Smith. What a wonderful grab by Seth Smith, robbing Andrew McCutchen of 2, maybe 3, and keeping a run off the board.
That's about knowing your ballpark, knowing which way the wind's blowing. Last night, that ball probably carries up off of the wall, but gets knocked down here, and it's just put your head down, run to a spot, put the glove up, and make the play. Nice job by Smith. Yeah, great camera work here. You know, if that ball, if he doesn't catch it, now he does catch it, obviously, but if he doesn't, that's going to ricochet around. There's no telling what McCutchen would have ended up with. Good job, Seth Smith.
Yeah, George, that's a great point. If that thing kicks away the way McCutchen runs, it could be an inside the park home run, because Dexter's running in that direction, but he's got a 100-yard dash to get there. Matt Diaz is up.
Obviously not the same threat with the bat that Tabata has been on the season. Tabata had left the yard a few times. And Matt Diaz hitting just 222 and 167 with runners in scoring position.
Matt Diaz eats up left-handed pitching. here tonight. Now the rest of the way, at least as long as Hamill's out there against a righty. 1 strike count. You know, we talk so much about Carlos Gonzalez and his defense, a Gold Glover. Dexter Fowler's probably going to have a Gold Glove in his future. Seth Smith's an outstanding athlete, and you know he gets overshadowed naturally by his compatriots in the outfield. Did he go? No swing.
Well, I think what happens a lot of times when you do play with somebody like a Gonzalez and a Fowler, and you hit well, as he did. I mean, he hit tremendously, particularly after the 7th inning as a pinch hitter and everything else. That kind of overshadows what he's done as a player. I mean, and what he does defensively.
1-2 on Diaz, and a great pitch by Hamill, and he strikes out Matt Diaz with Ronnie Cedeno at third. 4-1 Colorado. Help Tulowitzki and Cargo when we return. Double to left field his first time up. Rockies up 4-1 against Paul Maholm. They hit here in the third. Maholm takes that off the plate, ball 1. Doug did a little math for us. 45% of Todd's career at bats have come in the 3-hole. This is a swinging bunt. Alvarez will glove it and throw out help. Let's look again at that wonderful play made by Seth Smith, robbing Andrew McCutchen. He's going full gate into that right field corner and then jumps up against the wall. And he gets high fives when he came back to the dugout. Now, we asked him about playing out there during spring training with Fowler and Cargo. Here's what he had to say. It's kind of funny.
Have those two guys out there, you've got 2/3 of the outfield cover, and then maybe even 4/5 of the outfield cover. And then if Spilly and I can cover that 1/5, we've got it locked down.
He reconfigured the math there. He said, wait a second. Yeah, they probably get more than 2/3, those two guys. So he said, yeah, you know what, we'll cover our 20%.
That's where fly balls hit into right center. You go, where are you, Dexter? Come on.
Yeah.
I told you, I have from wherever I'm standing to the foul line, you got everything else.
I put Smith in that category that we've always put Todd Helton. Todd is so self-deprecating. You'd think he was the worst athlete going if you listen to him. Former starting quarterback at Tennessee. And this ball is fouled off. Well, Seth Smith, a tremendous football player. I mean, he's a quarterback in the SEC. Obviously, he had the misfortune of having to play against Eli Manning, the number one pick in the entire draft when he was at Ole Miss. He was a tremendous high school basketball player. This guy's a great athlete.
Fun guys to watch and how they surface into that one sport. And Todd, obviously was a good pitcher. He was a good quarterback. Ends up being a great hitter and a very good position guy. You talk about Seth Smith, all-round three-sport guy, and then you kind of center in on that one sport that you feel you're going to excel the most at. And you use all those other athletic abilities you have from those other two sports and you pour it into it 12 months out of the year. You typically are going to have a pretty good result when you play at the level they played at.
2-2 on Tulowitzki, who was a heck of a high school basketball player. Troy Tulowitzki matched up against Mahalam a few weeks ago at PNC Park, and Mahalam didn't like the result of this one.
High fastball, and again, that ball cut to the inside part of the plate. Tulowitzki did not bashful about putting it out of the yard.
2-2 on the ground is Cedeno. 2 outs and nobody on. Carlos Gonzalez will step up.
All right, guys. Welcome to another day of weird.
Pitch, his first time up, he lined a double over the head of Matt Diaz in left off the top of the wall. Just his 4th double of the year. And we mentioned it at the time. I know that had to delight Carney Lansford because he used the other side of second base, George.
Well, you get pulled happy when you start to struggle. You try to get really quick with everything. You start pulling off pitches. This time you stay on it. On a ball away from him, too. It wasn't a ball that jammed him. It was a ball away, and he utilized his power strength to drive that ball off of the wall.
I thought about a bunt again. He laid down a beauty last night.
And in the eyes of the defense,
and there's a base hit to right.
They'd rather him lay down a bunt and run the risk of only 1 base versus 2 or more.
You know, I was thinking the same thing. Clint Hurley in the dugout said, that's fine. All right. We'll give you a single.
Lay down all the bunts you want to.
So 2 well-hit balls for Gonzalez. He's 2 for 2. And with Cargo at first, Jose Lopez will get a chance here. Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. And see a Wells Fargo banker tomorrow for details. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. Card says to say today, George, but I have to believe they're closed now.
Probably closed late Saturday night, 7 o'clock. I don't think so.
Not good banking hours. Jose Lopez, a beautiful bunt. His first time up for a single. And this ball's hit hard, but right at Cedeno. That's been the story for Lopez. His last 4 or 5 ball games, he has more often than not found the fat part of the bat with a bad result, though. Of the week, it's plural though tonight because Todd Helton Did something he hadn't done in 3.5 years. Hit 2 homers in a ball game. Did it on Tuesday in Chicago. Last one about 4:30 to dead center field at Wrigley. Did you know that coal costs electricity consumers less than half of what they would pay for natural gas? It's clean and it's mined right here in Colorado. Shift is on. Garrett Jones at the plate. He lined to left his first time up, and Hamels' heater misses ball 1. George, remember this shot we showed late in the ball game last night of Helton in between pitches on defense, kind of grimacing? Mm-hmm. Well, I asked him about it today. It's somewhat similar to that look, but more pronounced. Here's a easy play for Herrera. Just got to wait for Todd to get to the bag. I said, was that because you were cold? He said, I was freezing. The wind was howling.
Well, he didn't have his quarterback pouch. You know those pouches they wear, they put your hands in? Yeah. If he had had the pouch, I think he would have been a little better off, but he didn't have the pouch.
I got a question for you tonight, by the way. I always have a question for you. This, you know, you remembered your nice overcoat. What do you think of my overcoat? You like that?
Well, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty typical. Look a little bit like
the Michelin Man.
Football coach, standing on the sidelines, trying to stay warm.
You know what else this has, Fraser? Let me show you. Because I could have used
You're
this
going to get all.
night.
Yeah, you could have really used that last night.
Could have used this last night.
Yeah. Now
what do you think?
No, take it off.
You know,
it's not
this like the
SNL.
Tonight. This is like back in the SNL days, the Conehead. This is Dan Aykroyd at his finest.
Oh boy,
that's down low. 2-0. When was the last time we've been able to mix in a Conehead reference into a Rockies broadcast? It's been a while.
15 years for me.
This ball to center field. It's going to die in front of Dexter Fowler. So base hit for Neil Walker.
Well, we were really concerned last night because, you know, we were out in right field. And it was really nice. Camarena Bar last night. It was really cool. Everything was good there, particularly the nachos. And we were concerned about Salmon. And then, lo and behold, did we know what Sam was doing there in the game? He wasn't actually, see, he was having a party, is what he was doing.
We leave, and Sam calls up all his close friends.
Dinger and friends show up and dance in the snow. They had a blast. Look at them. Even Sam got in a couple of steps behind the camera.
They didn't clean up so well because, George, we came in here and
there's stuff everywhere.
It's like, you know, the parents go out.
That's right.
And the teenagers throw a party.
And all the neighbors look at you like, did you know what went on there last night?
Sam, we got you on the sneak cam. Try not to smile. Look at this. Let's go back. We'll get him to grin.
No, you won't.
He's smiling right now. 0-1 on Lyle Overbay. And Overbay hits a pop-up to shallow left. No problem for Gonzalez. And Overbay is now 0 for 10 lifetime against Jason Hamm. Sam, listen, we gave you explicit instructions when we left. No parties, and you were to be in bed by 11:30. And once again,
and no texting while you were driving your motorcycle.
Once again, you fouled that up too. Chris Snyder, fly ball to right field, his first time. Good slider for a strike. Right at the top of the Ford strike zone.
See, I thought personally, I mean, it got called a strike, but it was like one of those frisbees just kind of fooled him a little bit. It was up in the top, and it just cut across to the middle of the zone. And Snyder didn't get a good look at it. I mean, you get away with one there, now come back and throw you a good one. Snyder, a very good fastball hitter.
Oh, George, you got another slider, and like you said, a better one, huh?
And it backed up a little bit, which makes it one even harder to hit. And then it went down into the lower part of the strike zone. So good for him. He's ahead 0-2 now. Make a pitch.
(4-1) Colorado. Top of 4 at Coors Field. Just a brief stop back at 20th and Blake for the Rockies. They'll go to Arizona on Monday, open up the 3-game series against the Diamondbacks Tuesday. And then it's on to San Francisco. Final day of April. It has been a most productive April for the Rockies. One of the things they talked a lot about in the offseason, getting off to a quick start, and they have. Most wins ever in April, 17. It came in 1997. They have a chance to match that with a victory tonight. And you look at the last 4 Aprils. Last year around 500, 11-12. 2 years ago, when they won 92 games, they went 8-12. George in April. 08, 11-17. Go back to 07. They won 90 ball games. They were 10-16 in April.
Well, yeah, there's so much talk going on. It's going. This ball may end up dropping.
This may drop, and Walker's going to end up at third base.
Rookies bat on a 77-mile-an-hour curveball. Well, for the best ticket value in the ballpark, purchase season tickets. But if you don't want to do that, why don't you look at one of the 12 to 25 game mini plans? It's a great way to get out and watch some ball games here at Coors Field. Call the Rockies, 303 Rockies, or go to ColoradoRockies.com and get more information.
Hamill needs to put this inning down now. You have the tying run at the plate in Pedro Alvarez with 2 outs. Run against Hamill, the first batter of the ball game. McCutchen hit a home run.
And even though Alvarez has struggled, he's one of those guys that can scare you because he can hit and he does have some big time power. He's just really struggled those last 22 at bats. 4 for 22. There's a hit.
It's 2-0 now. Geico quote of the day from Johnny Bench: slumps are like a soft bed. They're easy to get into and hard to get out of.
Nice quote from Naoki.
Good heater, 2-1.
I'll tell you, you learned something right there from a young hitter as you watch that pitch come in. As a catcher, Chris Iannetta watched the pitch, and what he's going to watch is this head part of Alvarez and this front shoulder. Because as he went to swing at the baseball, everything was pulling up the first base line, so then you take the ball away. You don't take the ball inside, as he did there. Went right back out again, and not a clean swing on the baseball. You know, for young players, sometimes the best advice is no advice other than just go have fun. Just play the game. There's a reason you're in a big league uniform. You know, with pitchers, one of the common sayings, your stuff got you here, your stuff will keep you here. Don't change.
2-2. Got it. Jason Hamill with some traffic strikes out Pedro Alvarez. And it's 4-1 Colorado, middle of 4 at Coors Field. Check in again with Alana with tonight's Fast Cash Sideline Report, brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Alana, are you back inside?
No, well, I'm back inside the ballpark, but it feels like I'm outside of course, guys, because it's now starting to snow over here in center field. I want to talk a bit more about Paul Maholm. He's from Greenwood, Mississippi, and went to Mississippi State, and everybody knows, of course, about all the devastating tornadoes that have been hitting the South. So he certainly has an eye on everything that's going on in Mississippi. His wife actually flew to Hattiesburg, where they currently have a home. Their home is fine. However, the northern part of Mississippi, where Paul and his family grew up, has been heavily affected by this. So he's certainly keeping an eye on everything down there. The death toll now rising above 300 people. It certainly helps to put things into perspective. He's out here trying to have a good outing, but really his thoughts are elsewhere, guys.
All right, Alana, and our thoughts, obviously, with the folks in the southeastern corridor of the country dealing with those devastating tornadoes. Smith fouls that off, 1-2. You know, George, you've spent a lot. You're from Springfield, Missouri, but most of your life you spent in Tulsa, and Oklahoma has more than its fair share of tornadoes. I don't know if I've ever seen, I'm far from an expert on tornadoes, I've never seen a path cut like that one that went through Tuscaloosa.
Well, I mean,
it's
just horrible. I mean, one hit in Stroud, Oklahoma, and wiped out a number of things there that was that wide. And, you know, you run into a lot of different things when they come. You have the hail, you have the rain, the water, the wind, and of course, it's just it's a tough thing to deal with. I went through my first one. It was a very young age. I think it was 3rd or 4th grade in Springfield, Missouri, and I went to Oklahoma. Of course, you see them. It's kind of like snow in Denver. You used to get tornadoes every spring. You know, not that you ever get used to them. Some more damaging than others. It's interesting. They'll follow the riverbeds and they'll pop back out again. And it's kind of a strange deal. Last week in Tulsa, there was 8 inches of rain, and south of there, a lot of tornadoes in the Arkansas areas that went down south. My mother in Springfield, 16 inches of rain.
Wow.
The gardens are water.
Yeah, for a while. Here's the 3-2, and a good eye by Seth Smith. Well, that's a slider a lot of lefties go fishing on. Smith's seen the ball very, very well. And Smith to first, leading off the 4th inning. Well, it's time for our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. Chris Iannetta, in his last AB, hit it out to right center. He is ridiculously strong. He can hit it out to any corner of the ballpark. His 3rd home run of the year. Got 10 RBIs now after that 3-run shot. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast.
Did Alana say it was snowing in center field?
Well, they get a different weather.
Because it's not snowing at home plate.
I know. They get a different weather pattern out there. We noticed that last night when we were out at the Camarina Loft.
Guys, I haven't been able to thaw out since Miami, so it's all like it's
Miami. Was it cold in Miami?
No, that's what I mean. I haven't been defrosted since we were in Miami, because from there we go to Chicago. You know how the weather was there for 3 days, and then come here. It's been cold and snowing and raining all at the same time, so it's frozen solid out here, but that's all right.
There's hot chocolate somewhere, darling. Go find you some.
Exactly. and then if you don't mind, have them throw a couple our way. Nice group in the rock pile. I think Alana was in the rock pile, or she was close to that. And good gathering out there this evening. Rockies are 5-1 this year against left-handed starters. One of the reasons that graphic you saw, the Rockies hitting the long ball against lefties.
We talked about the long ball against left-handers for the Rockies. They're 2nd in the National League. Cincinnati leads it. Cincinnati's been ridiculous with their slugging percentage against the National League at .612. The Rockies 2nd at .475, followed by St. Louis, Arizona, and Chicago.
The team that's surprising right now, at least offensively. A lot of contributions naturally from Pujols after a slow start. Matt Holliday's been cooking. Coming back from this nice catch. That popped out of his glove. Garrett Jones had it, and he said, "You know what? I'll let a fan have it."
No, I don't really think that's what he said.
So?
No, I think he's probably pretty disappointed that it hit the spring part of the glove, not the leather. Because it does hit right in the middle of his glove, but right into the palm. And when it did, it just popped out. And he did everything fundamentally sound. I actually thought he had the ball in the glove. See, watch the other bare hand come up in case it pops out. It popped out, and he looked in the glove like, where'd it go? Well, he should get an error on that. I think he should. The ball should have been caught.
See if Chris can take advantage of a new life. And he's going to drive one in the direction of Jones. He makes this catch. Jason Hamill coming up as we will solicit an answer for our AT trivia question. Which current Rockies coach played against the Pirates in the 1979 World Series? Foul ball. If you want us to go over the Rockies coaching staff, at third base, you have Richie Dower. At first base, you have Glenn Allen Hill. Both of those guys had very good major league careers. Carney Lansford had a terrific major league career. Here's Richie. Bob Apodaca, good major league career before an elbow injury. He was a reliever. Jim Wright got to the big leagues and then had a multitude of arm injuries, unfortunately. Rockies bullpen coach. That's fouled off, 0-2. Tommy Runnels, Greeley, Colorado. And of course, Jim Tracy, who got to the big leagues with the Chicago Cubs. Mahalam is going to go to first, and he almost was too quick going there, almost threw it into right field. So Hamill gets down the sac bunt.
Well, the Rocks with 15 now, second in the National League with sacrifice bunts. Washington leads it with 16. Good job by the pitching staff.
Take a look at our Quest high-speed pitch. Mahalam has touched 90. Jason Hamill has reached 94 on the gun. Brought to you by the fast, reliable, secure, heavy-duty internet from Quest. Dexter Fowler is 0 for 2. He's got a ribby out there in Seth Smith. Cutchin shading toward right center field. That pitch is down. Two and up. Dexter with 1 triple so far this year. He had 14 to lead all of baseball last year. And the reason I mention that is that Ronnie Cedeno hit a triple last night. He went. It was the Pirates' first triple of the season.
That amazes me too, because they have a lot of speed and they got a big ballpark.
And they have a big ballpark. It's the longest a major league team had gone from the start of the season in 6 years, since the Yankees took I think 28 games to produce a triple in 2006. It was actually 27 games. Dexter with great numbers against Mahalam, and he's got a great count to work with here. 3-1. Ball 4. And that'll bring up Jonathan Herrera with 2 on here in the 4th and a couple out. Well, the numbers, we keep throwing numbers at you. You do that in this sport. And you say, how does this add up? Well, the game's about pitching and defense first and foremost, because the Rockies have, of National League teams, of 16 teams, they're 12th in hitting. They're 15th in hitting with runners in scoring position. Only the Padres worse. But look at the walk category. George, they see a lot of pitches.
Absolutely they do.
And because they walk a lot, they've created a lot of traffic. And though their numbers aren't great with runners in scoring position and overall batting average, because of the number of opportunities, they're near the top in runs scored, which is ultimately the most important category.
Score more runs than the other guy, you win games.
That's how it works, guys.
That changed a lot.
One and one on Johnny. 1 and 2. And we're not just being kind when we say, oh, you know, the Rockies will hit, they'll be better than this. Fans always have concerns. But when you look at the track record of the guys we're talking about, you know, Gonzalez, Lopez, you know, he's been an all-star. He's been a 90 RBI guy in Seattle. Wigginton, who's down right now. Seth Smith. History, they're going to hit. Nobody wants to face this lineup.
History will tell you, and again, this is players. The only time you'll see a huge drop-off where they've hit, let's say, 25 home runs and 70 RBIs, now they're in their 14th or 15th year. Don't expect it. But when they're in the prime time of years, like they are now with Lopez, Wigginton, guys like that, then you expect them to come back and be pretty close to their numbers. I think the one thing that you battle as a manager is trying to get them, because when they do put those numbers up, it's because they're in the lineup consistently every day. So it's going to be, you can't play 2 third basemen with Wigginton and Lopez. Somebody's got to sit. And that's where the managing part for Jim Tracy comes in, to where you handle those players in that fashion to make sure that they stay sharp.
And George, the other note on that graphic, how poorly the Rockies have done off the bench is pinch hitters. That'll change too. It's fouled off, because most nights Jim Tracy's going to have a Giambi, a Lopez, or a Wigginton coming off the bench, a Spilborghs, who's a career 300-plus hitter, coming off the bench, and if it's on a given day, it's Smith, who's a 300-plus hitter, coming off the bench. I mean, Mark Grace has said this every year the last few years. Said that bench for the Rockies just is something else.
Well, you always want to put fear in the opposing manager when you're starting to match up late in games. You want one guy around that you can use as a leadoff man to get on and steal a base, or maybe go first to third. That's your Spilborghs. But then you want those guys with one swing that can be game changers to come off of your bench. And that's where you have Giambi, Lopez, or a Wigginton that can leave the yard with regular bases. And that's not an easy job when you're one of those guys that you pinch hit late in games. It's like being the closer for a ball club. It's not an easy job.
Just shows you how deep the Rockies are. You see the newest name, and he had a hit last night, Alfredo Messica. Messica can play everywhere. He handles the bat very well. And it's fouled off again by Jonathan Herrera. So Smith and Fowler getting their sprint work in. It's very tough, you know. A ground ball's tough, but the elusive plastic bag, George,
not any fun.
Yeah. That's why they don't let pitchers catch pop-ups, right?
Right, exactly. Dexter handled it beautifully at first base, blew right to him.
Another 3-2, and Herrera smokes one to short. Cedeno has to go the long way, and he will in time. Rockies will leave 2 on in the 4th. They have a 4-1 lead. baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by your neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota moving forward. By AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. And by McDonald's. Quench your late night thirst at McDonald's, where any size soft drink or tea is just $1. I'm loving it. Ronnie Cedeno leading off in the 5th inning takes strike 1 from Jason Hamill. Hamill's allowed a run on 4 hits. 1-1. Oh, nice pickup by Lopez. That wasn't as easy as he made it look. 1 out, and Paul Mahalam will come up.
Hamill with a little bit of traffic, 1st and 4th. The home run obviously was a part of this, but 62 pitches into this game is a nice job by Hamill. We've talked a lot about the Rockies offense. We've talked about a little bit of the defense. We've talked a lot about the Pirates, but Jason Hamill right now has done just what you wanted him to do. It's the 5th inning. He's kept his pitch count down. He's worked the ball away, and he's gotten out. His counterpart was 70 through 4. So you time that. You got to know how to time things. So you tell the fans, throw out your hot dog wrapper right about halfway when the pitch is coming, and then it blows right in front of the hitter. Because once the pitch left the hand, they're not going to call timeout.
Impeccable timing, George, with that.
It worked good.
2-1 on Mahalam. A lot of nice piece on Mahalam and his concern for folks down in his native state of Mississippi. Roy Oswald has actually left the Phillies to go back home to Mississippi and check on family and help out the community there. And we're not sure yet if he'll make his next start on Tuesday. Swung on and missed. It's 3-2. And Hamill misfires and he walks Mahalam. That's his first walk of the game. Let's take a look at news and notes from the National League West. Bad news for the Giants. They won today on a walk-off walk by Aubrey Huff, but Pablo Sandoval, who had a terrific start going, is out 4 to 6 weeks. He fractured the hamate bone in his right hand. And Andre Ethier, well, George, that great hitting streak is going to come to a close tonight some way or another, because at least in April he has a major league record 25-game hitting streak in April, never done before. Today's the last day, April. It's also, as you saw on that note, the second longest streak, tied for the second longest streak in Dodgers history. And, I mean, he's not getting leg singles. Every time you look up, he's hitting one off the wall or double down the line.
Hershiser has the record for shutout innings. So who has the record for the Dodgers' longest consecutive game streak, Doug?
1-0 on McCutchen. Strike 1. 1-1.
That's kind of one of my pet peeves. When guys do that, you know, they say this guy's second. Well, who's first? So I give Dougie something to do. See, we set a trap for him.
I'm going to say Willie Davis.
Doug's looking. You have any success, Doug?
Yeah, he looked it up.
Willie Davis, 31 games.
How about that?
1969 he did it. Did you know Zach Wheat had 29 games?
No.
He's tied with Ethier. It's in the Hall of Fame, Zach Wheat.
Ethier's 25. This is Dodger era.
Dodger era, Brooklyn combined.
No, this is just, I mean, I'm sorry, I meant Los Angeles era. So Willie Davis, Buzz Boyle, Steve Sachs, Paul LeDuc all hit 25 straight also. 3-1 on McCutchen.
There's a whole bunch of guys, Joe Medwick, Duke Snyder, Keeler, Zach Wheat did it twice.
Well, you just hope now with 2 on that Hamill doesn't live to regret that walk to the pitcher.
Well, what happens is it flips you into the heart of the lineup. Well, he did a good job when he was in the sunshine. Now he's in the cold, but in the sunshine against the Marlins, he worked very good in that ball game. He went out and started and dominated the Florida Marlins. 6 2/3, 7 hits. He walked 1, struck out 4.
Matt Diaz struck out his first time up.
All on sliders. Did not have a good swing on it on the strikeout. Starts him out with a fastball at 91.
Double play ball. There's one. There is 2. 6-4-3 on the turn. Middle of 5. The Rockies leading the Pirates 4-1. .470 road ahead, brought to you by E470. Sign up for Express Toll today and start paying 20% less on E470 tolls. That's a good deal. Tomorrow will be the series finale and the season finale between the Rockies and Pirates. Monday's an off day, a travel day, and then we resume Tuesday down in the Valley of the Sun. Rockies will take on the D-backs for 3, the Giants for 3, beginning National League West play with the start of May.
Yeah, with a couple of off days, too, going on with the Rockies washed out Wednesday, off Thursday and Tuesday, or Monday. They skip Ismael Rogers in the rotation now, and he'll start on Saturday against the San Francisco Giants.
1-0 on Helton. Todd a double and a ground ball to third. Here's the rotation over the next 5 days. Ubaldo goes tomorrow. Jorge De La Rosa will open up the road trip. Chacín on Wednesday. Hamill comes back Thursday. Ubaldo Friday, and then, as George mentioned, Ismael Rogers Saturday at AT&T Park in San Francisco. It's a 3-0 count on Helton. On the corner. I was sitting with Todd a little bit before the ball game. He's watching video of Mahalam, and naturally, you could, from his standpoint, you completely eliminate all the right-handed batters. He wants to see the pattern that Mahalam uses to throw to left-handed batters.
Well, this one was not to play catch with the catcher.
Helton goes to first. Troy Tulowitzki coming up, and we check in again with Alana Rizzo. Hey, Alana.
Hey, guys, we were just talking about the weather earlier, and I asked Jim Tracy before the ball game today if this is one of the worst Aprils he can remember in terms of weather delays. He said, you know what, I don't know if it's the worst, but it is certainly up there. Let's take a look at how the Rockies have been affected so far in April. With all of the snow and rain delays, you might remember back on April 3rd versus the Diamondbacks, we had that snow out game. It was a Sunday day game. They're going to make that one up in a doubleheader on May 24th. That game scheduled for 1:10. Then on April 12th against the Mets, we had that rain out. Remember, they made it up 2 days later in that doubleheader in New York. They won both of those games, in fact, a 4-game sweep in New York against the Mets. And finally, just recently on the 27th against the Cubs, another rain out, although I heard that game could have been played. I don't think it rained that day. Makeup game for that one, June 27th. That one's scheduled for 12:20 at home, guys.
Hey, Alana, what are you doing? Alana, look up. You can wave to us.
The other way.
We're not in the sky. We're up here.
Yeah, last night we were over there.
Yeah.
Tonight we're over here.
Tell her to look up. She's looking in the sky. It's warm up here. Come on up.
I'm coming to see you right
now.
now.
All right. See you in a minute.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Nice play by Cedeno. Man, that ball was scorched.
Do you know what?
Tulowitzki.
Yeah, Tulowitzki hit it hard. What was interesting about it is he didn't turn George over his left shoulder. He turned the other way. Watch this.
He got spun around. That's why. He had to backhand the ball, and then he had to put a really snap throw right over to Walker at second base. That ball was hit so hard when he backhanded, it just pulled the momentum all the way around. Nice play.
Here to do a 270. Cargo a double and a single tonight.
He's had an attitude-changing night so far.
And a broken back ground ball to short. Two outs. That'll bring up Lopez. Lopez a bunt single and a one-hop smashed to Cedeno. Rockies got all their runs in the second, highlighted by a Chris Ionetta 3-run home run. And Gonzalez, who's at first, came into the ballgame 1 for 21 against left-handed pitching. Last year he hit .320 against lefties. He's added a couple of knocks tonight. And this ball toward right center field. McCutchen coming hard. And he makes a sliding catch. Well done by Andrew McCutchen, taking extra bases from Jose Lopez. The beat goes on for Lopez. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. Don't forget to play. And by the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Ask about our hometown sports package. Rockies have not added on since the 4-run eruption in the second inning. They have a 4-1 lead. Jason Hamill will face Garrett Jones here in the 6th. Then Neil Walker and Lyle Overbay, 3, 4, and 5 in the Pirate lineup. The Pirate lineup that has been struggling offensively. Toyota talk inning. Here's a strike. One ball and 1 strike on Jones. I don't like that one, Jared. Sorry. I'm going to pass on that one. But keep sending in the ideas, Jared. One's up and away, and it's 3-1. We see snow-capped Rockies tonight. Hey, listen, you can still go to A Basin and Loveland and go skiing. How about that?
Well, they had Vail last night shut down the pass against the bat up there.
A banner season in the high country. And as I said, you know what? They may be skiing on the 4th of July this year at A Basin.
I thought they did that every year. I thought it was like the party in the snow or whatever.
On the ground is short. Tulowitzki on the shift will throw out Garrett Jones. Neil Walker is 1 for 2. He'll come up. The status of Aaron Cook, CD and Centennial. He's been thrown off. He's thrown a bullpen the other day, and he's making a lot of progress, throwing pain-free from the finger injury.
Well, basically, he's in spring training right now, as he was a year ago. I mean, back in the spring, what I'm trying to say to you is he's doing the PFP, he's doing all the running, the long toss, and the bullpen work. Hopes to get in the game this week.
Good to see Cargo hitting again. We'll be in attendance tomorrow to watch the Pirates walk the plank. Folks over in Grand Junction. Yeah, like the Conehead look. I think a lot of people. That's a strike. I'm surprised my wife.
I wonder if I could buy one of those somewhere at a costume shop and
put it on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some that still have it. Cargo will be fine, Kelly. That just missed.
Oh, hot dogs. All bundled up. A hot dog at the yard. Got the dad and the brother with him. That's a good day right there.
Yeah, I'm not the only Conehead at the ballpark tonight, by the way. That's off the end of the bat.
Where's another one?
Well, everybody's got their hoodie going. And
no, yours looked like a point. That does not look like a Conehead. That looks like a kid that had his top on. He's got yours. That's a Conehead, what you have on your head right now. That. See, those guys look like they're cold, but they're trying to stay warm with a hoodie. And your hats go to a point too, though. I think it's a New York thing, because your dad's hats do the same thing. You notice that, Dougie, how his hat in the back always comes up with a point, and his dad walks in, he's got the same thing. It's like they slept wrong or something.
You know, actually, I feel right now like, George, as you know, we have an English sheepdog at home with the Golden, and you ever notice English sheepdogs? They can't ever see. They got hair in front of their eyes.
Yeah, well, you got to trim it back.
2-2.
So you got 2. Are you going to get a third dog now?
Easy.
You had 3 boys. You need 3 dogs. Everybody has their own buddy.
They're trying to share that blanket. How's
Change
that going?
The subject. Yeah, I know that. You know what? This is a great idea to come to the yard, but
man, that ball's pulled to right for a base hit. So Walker has his second knock tonight. And with one out, kneels at first for Lyle Overbay. Sioux Falls sounding off. Gotta love that. Overbay, ground ball, helps, got a tag play at second, and Tulowitzki applies a tag on Walker. Second double play turned by the Rockies tonight. And Hamill is safely through 6 innings at 20th and Blake. And add a couple more here in the bottom of the 6th inning. We haven't answered our AT&T trivia question yet. Which current Rockies coach played against the Pirates in the '79 World Series won by Pittsburgh? Well, it's Richie Dower. And Richie had a solid postseason as the Pirates beat the Orioles in 7 games. Here's Seth Smith. You know, since we mentioned Richie, well, let's talk about Richie for a moment. Is there a guy with a drier sense of humor who's more fun to be around than Richie Dower? Richie's great. Richie's a really humorous guy. He's a tremendous infield coach, outstanding third base coach, and he's got a little character in him.
He's got a quick wit, except when he crosses the lines and it's time to play baseball and everything really gets serious then for Richie.
Good man. Richie was a great athlete. Richie played at Southern Cal.
He was a better basketball player than he was a baseball player.
He could have played basketball at Southern Cal also. 2-1 on Smith. That's in there. 2-2. First round pick. 24th overall after his career with the Trojans. And this ball sliced to left's got to get down, and didn't in time. Matt Diaz took it off his shoe tops. Good swing though. It's my birthday, 7 years old. Happy birthday. Enjoying the ball game. I know you are. Rockies are up 4-1. Time for the Home Depot doing more on defense. That great running catch by Seth Smith to rob Andrew McCutchen. Home Depot doing more on defense. The forgotten outfielder, Seth Smith. At least when we talk about defense.
Chris Iannetta not going to be forgotten tonight with that big 3-run home run back in the second. His third of the year, 10 RBIs now for Chris on the season.
This is a kind of a typical Paul Maholm start. You think you have him on the ropes. You think you're going to knock him out early. Next time you look up, it's the 6th inning, and he's kind of kept his club in the ballgame.
Yeah, he's still out there. 89 pitches, 56 of those for strikes. Work both sides of the plate, utilize the breaking ball. There's been some balls hit extremely hard. I mean, Cedeno's made 3 really nice plays at shortstop to catch balls, and of course McCutcheon's ball in the previous inning on that center field dive to make an out, the last out in the 5th.
2-2 on Iannetta. Strike 3. Third strikeout for Maholm.
Everything away, and then all of a sudden he runs that fastball inside, a little bit like Tom Glavine used to do at the top of the zone, and he gets the called strike by Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire.
Maholm has made more starts than any other left-handed pitcher in the National League since 2006.
That's one of the reasons they kept him around in Pittsburgh, and Zach Duke was let go, which was later on picked up by the Arizona Diamondbacks.
They just haven't scored any runs for him this year. This is his 6th start of the season, and including the McCutcheon home run in the 1st, the Pirates have scored 9 runs while he's been out on the hill. Slowly hit up the middle, and Cedeno will throw out Jason Hamill. A 1-2-3 6th inning for Maholm. That's his first 1-2-3 inning of the ball game. 4-1 as we go to the 7th. Lexus look back. In the 1st inning, Andrew McCutcheon leading off the ball game for the 8th time in his career hits a bomb. He's a special talent, and the Pirates were off to a 1-0 lead against Jason Hamill. No problem. The Rockies offense had Hamill's back. Seth Smith, a little bleeder down the line. That's an infield hit. It brought home a run, and then Chris Iannetta hit a 3-run home run. Originally, the rally started by Carlos Gonzalez, an opposite field double. That's the entire offense tonight for the Rockies. Our Cooney Lexus look back, brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address, South Broadway in Littleton. And Hamill in the 7th inning starts out Chris Snyder with a sinking fastball for strike 1.
10 ground ball outs, 5 fly ball outs, 3 strikeouts, covering 89 pitches so far in the game.
Good slider. That's one of the better sliders, George, he's thrown tonight.
He's really shown a 3-pitch mix nice. He's showing a good fastball we just witnessed, a good changeup, and then that slider. His ability to throw this right out of the hand. I mean, you're getting a good look because the elbow's elevated and out front, utilize his tall frame, you get the downward movement on him.
And the Rockies have Matt Lindstrom on the right side, Franklin Morales on the left side. That's Michael Crota, super sinker baller. Two and two. Off out of play. Well, we Root Sports like to keep you updated on your favorite team, the Colorado Rockies. And here's one way you can do that. In addition to watching the ball games right here on Root Sports, text alerts to 720-720. Stay connected this season with Root Sports. 3-2 on Snyder. And the slider, wow, where is that? That must have been a little bit high, passing through the zone.
Probably why it didn't get called either, because it was high and you can see a little bit in, but from up here in the viewpoint of where we were sitting, we're cheering on for a punch out.
Second walk allowed.
You see Snyder now when he starts that swing forward, you can see where he is. That's high for a breaking ball. That's not going to get called.
Good call by the home plate umpire Eric Cooper. Rockies returned a couple of double plays tonight. Pedro Alvarez at the dish.
Oh, that hurt. Yeah, gummit, I hate that when that happens. Never had it happen to me. Actually, I did when I was umpiring Little League Baseball. I never umpired again.
Was that it?
Yeah, I was done.
One and one. When you see those, repeated shots, and all catchers take them, I often think of Mike Matheny, who had an outstanding career cut short because of post-concussion syndrome, getting whacked on foul balls in the mask. Former Cardinal and Giant catcher. 1-1 on Alvarez. Rockies up 4-1. Nobody out. I like this by Chris Iannetta. Walk on a 3-2 pitch, on a swing pitch, 1-1. He falls behind 2-1. This is where Iannetta wants to kind of coax his pitcher through this inning.
Well, you know what you do too?
Rockies probably will hand it off to Rafael Betancourt.
You walk out and you just, you challenge him a little bit. You walk out and say, hey, you pitched 6 great innings. What's the deal? Let's go. Keep challenging. Stay with me on the pitches. Don't shake me off. Let's work what we're working. Are you better off right now, change up or slider? What do you feel comfortable with? We'll go with one of those two as your off-speed pitch. Ask him and let him do it. 100th pitch coming up from Mr. Hammond.
Hilton playing behind the runner at first. Chance for 2. There's one on the first. Hilton got back. Did he stay on the bag? Yep. Another double play. Third turn tonight. Nice play by Hamill to get out of the way. He's got to get there, George, but Todd was able to get back to the bag, and that is often the toughest double play to turn, the 3-6-3.
Yeah, it sure is, depending on how far you are away from the bag as a first baseman. You can see where Helton is, playing right in behind the runner with a left-handed pull hitter, and he's fairly off the bag, so he's got a snap throw, and once he releases the accurate throw, he knows he's only got a certain amount of time, and he's got to get back to the bag. That's 10 or 15 feet, and as a pitcher, you read off of him, and then you just get out of the way. And you saw Helton come to the bag. Trust me, that Gold Glove catch in the baseball is a whole lot better than a pitcher on the move.
First team in the National League, George, now to hit the number 30 in double plays here in the 2011 season.
Man, it's not an easy place. He helped, kind of got his feet tangled up as he went over there. Lucky he didn't twist an ankle doing that.
That's a foul ball. So the Rockies have turned, listen to this, they've turned 30 double plays, yet they've hit into only 11.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Here's the graph for you. The Braves, a good team. They've turned 29 double plays. Was Johnny wearing that earlier in the ball game and I missed it? I think Johnny's added that to his apparel here later innings. 0-2 fought off. Ronnie Cedeno is 1 for 2 tonight. If your windshield is cracked or damaged in any way, call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com. A lot of folks with the Klondike look tonight. A lot of folks looking like they're dressed for the Iditarod as opposed to a Major League Baseball game in late April. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Beautiful pitch from Hamill. And if that's his final offering of the night, what a job by Jason Hamill. 7 innings, he's allowed 1 run. Excel Energy high efficiency inning. We normally go with defense. We could tonight. Plenty of fine defensive moments. Good pitching from Hamill, but we're going to go offense. Second inning. There's the double off the top of the wall from Carlos Gonzalez. Beautiful bunt single from Jose Lopez. First and third. And Smith's going to get an infield hit and an RBI. And then right behind him, Chris Iannetta hits one about 400 feet to the Rockies bullpen. And there's your 4 spot. 4 hitters, 4 straight knocks. And the Rockies have their 4 runs. And this ball is hit well to center by Dexter. McCutchen almost overran it. By the way, the high efficiency inning brought to you by Excel Energy. Learn how you too can be efficient when it comes to your energy and visit responsiblebynature.com. Pretty good ups there by McCutchen.
Well, you're not kidding. This ball scalded. I mean, scalded right back up the middle. It had a lot of carrying backspin, and McCutchen just froze thinking, hey, this is going to be right at me, and he recognized, I better get up in there and get this thing. And he did. A little snow cone action to make the play.
Johnny Herrera's at the plate. And the ears are a lot warmer than his last at bat. I'll tell you a great story about Johnny. Here's the 0-1. And this is in the hole. Get on through. Base hit. Beautiful. Now, Johnny, we can brag on you a little bit. Johnny 1 for 4 tonight. So it's spring training, and Johnny's with his financial advisor, and he had never been to an NHL hockey game. So his financial advisor took Johnny to a Phoenix Coyote game. And one of this guy's other clients is Ilya Bryzgalov, who's a terrific goaltender for the Coyotes, George, as you well know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so after the game, Johnny Herrera, who's seen his first, this ball's well hit by Helton to deep center field. McCutcheon right in front of the track's going to haul it in. 2 outs. So anyhow, the two get together after the ball game and exchange pleasantries. And as a token of his appreciation for coming to his first hockey game, Bryzgalov gets a stick out of his locker and autographs it to Johnny. Well, Johnny keeps that stick in his locker. And he says, you know, if I ever get in a big slump because that stick's so big, I'm going to take it out and use it big. But no, he does. He keeps it in his locker as a good luck charm and a memento. And he really loved his first hockey game. So I was talking to Cargo today about him going to a game. Tulowitzki takes down low. I don't think there's a lot of opportunities growing up in Maracaibo, Venezuela, to go to
not many
ice hockey games.
No, not many. I know when I went down there to play winter ball, and I went up to a beach called Sosua in the Dominican Republic. Played 2 years. I took a football with me. Kids thought that was a little odd. Instead of a baseball, you're throwing around this football. A couple of guys named Johnny and William, 2 young kids.
Got a good memory.
Yeah, they're great kids.
2-0.
Of course, that's 33 years ago, so they're a little older now.
Troy, a strikeout, a ground ball to short, and a smash to short. Troy's due against Mahalam. He came into the ballgame 10 for 18 against him, as we mentioned, with a couple of bombs. 0 for 3 this evening. Bottom of 7. Rockies up 4-1. And it's 3-0. This ball driven high and deep to right field. Did Tulo get it? Not quite. So we move on to the 8th inning. Colorado leading by 3.
Rockies lead 4-1 over the Pittsburgh Pirates as we head to the top of the 8th inning. And here is another connection between these two organizations. Former Pirates pitcher and now TV analyst for the Pirates, Bob Walk, appeared in the 1988 All-Star game. It was his first and only appearance as an All-Star. He faced just one batter. Well, that batter happened to be Rockies hitting coach Carney Lansford, who also, by the way, was making his only appearance in an All-Star game. Well, Lansford hit an inning-ending ground ball, and when speaking with Carney about it, he said, you know what, at least I hit the ball and didn't strike out. An interesting connection between these two organizations, guys.
All right, Alana, thank you for that. Rockies are going to turn to Rafael Betancourt, their 8th inning man here. And the Pirates, with Mahalam due up, will have Xavier Paul pinch hit. So Paul, who started the year with the Dodgers, was released by Los Angeles and is picked up with Pittsburgh.
Tell you what, he pitched well tonight in this ball game. 7 innings, 4 runs given up. After that 2nd inning, you didn't think he'd be around after the 3rd or 4th, but he pitched well enough to hang around. Jason Hamill, what a job he did. 6 hits, 1 run.
7 innings, walked 2, struck out 4, and the run came in the first batter of the game. McCutchen hit 1 out.
A lot of times as a reliever, you fight a little bit of being over aggressive when you haven't pitched for a while. And the last time Betancourt was on the hill, he threw 1 inning, gave up a hit, struck out 1 on the 26th versus Chicago. The left-hander Matt Reynolds is warming up down in the bullpen for the Rockies. Well, on May 1st, visit Section 114 to buy a baseball branded with the CR logo from C. Lazy U Ranch. Proceeds, benefit the Colorado Rockies Foundation. Don't forget, that's Section 114 here at the ballpark, and it's on May 1st, tomorrow.
Here's the 0-2, and Betancourt just misses away. 1-2. Four runs, 7 hits for Colorado, a run on 6 hits and an error for the Pirates. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Very close, 3-2. Hey, reminder coming up in the Toyota postgame show, Toyota Talk throughout the postgame, so you can sound off on tonight's ball game and maybe any other thoughts you have about these last couple of ball games here at Coors Field. Text those comments and questions to 720-720 after you text Toyota. Here's the 3-2, and it's a foul tip, so Paul stays alive. The Rockies have a terrific bullpen. They're off to a fabulous start. One of probably the 2 biggest reasons the Rockies are 16-8, their defense and their bullpen so far.
Closing out ball games.
And as you see Matt Reynolds throwing down there with Jimmy Wright looking on. George, I think you can't overstate this enough, the fact they don't walk people
at all. And that's what you want out of your bullpen.
You're going to earn your way on.
Yeah, well, you want to pay you. That's what you want to have. You know, the worst thing that kills you got a 4-1 lead and you walk a leadoff guy.
Fewest walks of any bullpen in the National League. And the Pirates have a great bullpen. I mean, the Pirates have pitched exceptionally well this April. Bucks pitchers coming into tonight, a 1.97 ERA over their last 7. The bullpen an 0.86 ERA over that same period. In fact, their last 11, they have an 0.95 ERA. Another 3-2 and a ground ball to second. Johnny gets over there. Oh, he's got great feet. 1 out, and Andrew McCutchen will come up. Well, down on the farm.
Yeah, I was going to say the one thing this thing's based on, this whole organization, now is the growth of that farm. Ian Stewart with a solo home run. Hector Gomez hit another home run. You know, even though they lost 7-4, the Drillers won tonight, 3-2 in the 9th inning. Jorgensen picked up the save in that ball game. Josh Rutledge just joined the Modesto Nuts. He was a high draft pick a couple of years ago. Is now playing shortstop for the Modesto Ball Club. 3 for 4 in that initial ball game.
Josh Rutledge is out of Alabama. 2nd round pick. Strike on McCutchen. Home run, a deep drive to right field, robbed of extra bases by Smith, and then a single. So McCutchen has swung it well tonight. He was slumping coming into the series, but he's got 2 home runs in the series. Now is a healthy hack there.
Pretty good fastball too at 93 from Betancourt.
0-2.
It's all about location. Remember last night on a ball up out of the zone, he had to extend it and drove the ball pretty well.
One out, nobody on. Rockies up 4-1 in the 8th. There's the 1-2 to Andrew McCutchen, and he just got a piece of that off the end of the bat. Pirates made a move before the ball game. Evan Meek was placed on the disabled list with tendonitis in his right shoulder, and Clint Hurdle brought up Daniel Moskis, left-handed reliever, who's a former #1 pick. They have 5 number 1s right now on their 25-man roster, George.
Yeah, trying to make their farm system do the work. They've had such a bad run of luck, too, of guys getting hurt as far as #1 pitchers are concerned.
Moskis, the #1 now here. Paul Mahalam in 03 was a #1. Neil Walker in 04. Andrew McCutchen at the plate in 05. Pedro Alvarez in 08. As you look at Moskis down in the bullpen.
He came out of the same year draft as Madison Bumgarner in 07. There's a lot of guys. Tim Alderson was a part of that. Rick Porcello was part of that 07 draft.
George, you checked on Alderson lately? Because he was in the same class as Bumgarner a couple years ago, and then of course was traded away.
Double-A with Pittsburgh right now, pitching in Altoona.
Iannetta sets up on the outside corner. That's where Betancourt lives. This ball ran back over the middle of the plate. One of the things hitting coaches, scouts certainly look for is a quick bat on a young player, and this kid's got a quick bat. He gets from point A to point B in a hurry.
Rockies touted #1 draft pick Tyler Matzik will make his start for Modesto tonight against the Visalia Rough Riders.
3-2. And Matzik trying to bounce back. He had an 8-walk outing in his last appearance, which happens sometimes with kids.
Yeah, it's been the whole thing so far with him. Is you know, his deliveries battling some consistency out of it. Hey, if you're looking for a unique place for your special event, check out Coors Field in the suite areas. They've got event areas throughout the ballpark. Can handle any size, 25 to 250. So make that call.
That's a foul ball. He's got the thing going tonight, George. That skull cap that comes down over the ears.
Well,
everybody's got him tonight.
Where's ours?
I don't need it because Keith Schultz, director of clubhouse operations for the Rockies, hooked us up with these coats. So I'm
pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, this is beautiful. Let me go skiing in it next winter. Here's the 3-2.
You got to give it back.
Played by Tulowitzki. He gets McCutchen. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Matt Diaz.
Well, you need a little kindling on a night like tonight, Drew, to help start that fire at the house. You could just go down and get one of Andrew's bats because this one's in a lot of pieces right now. Right off the end of the bat with that cutter.
Problem for Andrew now, George, is he won't feel his hands till tomorrow morning. Diaz is 0 for 2. Jose Tabata started the ball game. He grounded to short, and it's sprinting up the line. Pulled a hamstring. So Diaz came in for him at the bottom of the first defensively. Spot there, 1-1. And Diaz fouls this pitch out of play. Watch Dan and his Dinettes weekday mornings at 7. It's how Frazier gets up on draft day. Tomorrow's lineup. Well, draft's over. So, but tomorrow's Sunday. I'll tell you what. I'm not sure who's on Monday, but check out Dan. It's a great show. Dan Patrick Show. And you can see it at 7 a.m. weekday mornings right here on Root Sports. Just missed. Two. Rockies have been first place in the National League West for 25 days. The only time they've been in first place longer since their inception in 1993 was a 40-day stay in 1997. Let me correct that. 1995, the year they went to the postseason for the first time. Between July 2nd and August 10th in 95, 40 days, they were in first place. And ultimately, as you all know, made the postseason as a wild card team in 95. And lost 3-1 to the Atlanta Braves. That was the only year during that tremendous run for the Braves, 14 straight division titles, that they won it all. 2-2, and this ball's also going to die in the right field seats. This is interesting. Rafael Betancourt, and it's going to factor into tomorrow for Jim Tracy, George. Even though Betancourt didn't work yesterday, and he's only faced 3 batters, and this is the 3rd batter of the inning. Diaz got 2 outs. He's thrown 25 pitches already.
And average it almost, well, it does. Do the arithmetic, 8+ pitches per at bat. I mean, that's too many. Your National League average is like 3.6 pitches per at bat, so well over that. And yeah, you're right. He's getting that pitch count up pretty high.
But I mean, he's throwing strikes. They keep hitting him backwards on. Both Paul and McCutchen got the 3-2 counts, and that'll be the same story for Matt Diaz.
Houston Street on a cool night has already started to warm up to pitch the 9th inning. Matt Reynolds is up, so he could face the left-handers coming up, and Jones and Walker if they choose to go that way.
Matt Reynolds, guest on a pregame show tonight. This may break some kind of record if Betancourt has a 1-2-3 inning, but it takes him 30 pitches. Dougie, look that up. I don't know if that information is readily available. Here's another 3-2 on Matt Diaz. 2 outs in the 8th inning. That's a fair ball. Tulowitzki's got to hurry. He gets Diaz by a step. Betancourt throws 28 pitches, and he gets the 3 guys he wanted to get. Game summary brought to you by Ecotech Institute. 4-1 Colorado. Rockies got all their runs in the 2nd inning. The only run for the Pirates, a leadoff home run by Andrew McCutchen. Outstanding performance again by Jason Hamill, backing up his fine outing down in Miami against the Marlins. He's in line right now for the victory. The Rockies at the bottom of the 8th inning will see Daniel Moscas making his big league debut. Xavier Paul stays in the ball game for Matt Diaz. He's in left field.
Well, the former #1 draft pick converted to a reliever just a year ago in Altoona. Appeared in 37 ball games with 3-1 there, 41 innings, just 26 hits, 43 strikeouts. Moved on to AAA and went 0-5 in 19 games as a reliever. He got beat up pretty good there. Gave up 3 home runs. He walked 20 in 17 innings. Prior to that, he didn't walk hardly anybody. So he's going to get his shot here and make his major league debut.
Cargo steps in, and his first big league pitch at 91 for a strike. This was a very high #1, too. He's the 4th pick in the draft. Cargo 2 for 3 tonight. And that's a pretty good slider. Late movement there. It's 0-2. All right, Dougie did research. The most pitches in a 1-2-3 inning this year by a reliever, 23, Mariano Rivera. And that was just broken by Betancourt with 28. Moskos out of Clemson University. 2-2. He was born in Greenville, South Carolina, but he went to high school in California.
All Southern California All-Star as a senior. Then he went to Clemson University, where he pitched for the Clemson Tigers.
Jose Lopez coming up. Welcome to our Coors Light Freeze Cam. This Cargo's first couple of swings tonight. Line drive to left, line drive to right, double and single. Brought to you by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Lopez, bunt single, smash to short, line drive toward the gap in right center, a sliding catch made by Andrew McCutchen. It's like he's getting robbed twice a night these days. Neil Walker. And that'll bring up Seth Smith. Clint Hurdle picked a good situation, non-pressure situation. 2 of 3 hitters that Moskos will face are left-handed. Nice place to make his debut.
Well, he pitched a little bit in spring training. I'm sure it's big league ball games, kind of been around it the last couple of years. But he is a guy that's been to Clemson, which is not an easy league to pitch in against the teams you got to play there all the time. The Pirates might end up losing this ball game 4-1, but somebody made their major league debut tonight, Daniel Moskos, and that phone will be ringing here in a little while.
One and two. We'll talk more about it.
That's kind of impressive there. He changed speeds off of that slider pretty good.
I'm going to say we'll talk more about it as the June draft approaches. But this is a very, very deep draft in terms of pitchers.
Young pitchers, high school kids. A lot of good high school arms out there. 2 at the top, not to brag a little bit, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Dylan Bundy. It's just been ridiculous. They think he'll be the 3rd pick by Arizona, won't go beyond the 5th pick. And then Archie Bradley, a 2-sport guy, decided to go to Oklahoma and play. The other day was 93-96 in his start the other day. Bundy was 93-98 in his last start. 127 strikeouts in 56 innings. Is that any good?
That's very good high school baseball in your neck of the woods. A Wasso, Broken Arrow.
Yeah, Wasso, Broken Arrow, Jinx is, of course, Bishop Kelly's put out some pro players, college players.
2-2, high fly ball to deep right center field. Jones is going to have a play. Smith didn't put enough coins in the meter. A 1-2-3, 8 for Moskis in his big league debut. Will go to the 9th. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. Rockies leading 4-1, looking for 3 more outs. Houston Street looking for his 10th save. And we go to Tom Helmer for a Toyota post-game preview. Tommy.
Drew, how about the Pirates getting man-hammeled tonight? You like that one?
I like that.
Billy Hungate hit me up on Twitter. He goes, how about man-hammeled? So we're giving him a shout-out. Also, Iannetta taking it to the Pirates.
Wait, do that one again.
Iannetta. Is that pirate-ish? I don't know.
That was good.
That was from Allison Vigil, who lives in the production truck.
Right.
She sent that one in.
She didn't actually live there, but spends a lot of time there.
Absolutely.
You do it with a patch next time, though.
I'll have to get one. I got to talk to the whole thing. Budget. I got to go through a whole. It's a lot of red tape to go through all that. And of course, we'll be in the clubhouse. It's all coming up on the Toyota Post Game Show. And of course, we'll keep the Toyota talk going as well. Drew,
between your children and mine, somebody will come up with a patch for you. All right.
Between your children and mine, that's a small village.
That is. All right, Tom. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Also, keep those texts coming on Toyota Talk afterwards. Tom and the gang will have the post game show, and we don't care how cold it is. Make sure you get out to center field as soon as Houston Street records these final 3 outs. 15th appearance for Houston. He's been very good, George.
9-9 at save opportunities, 15 1/3. He has been very good, and he'll need to do that with the left-handers coming up. 2 in a row, Jones and Walker.
Hamill goes 7 strong, allows a run on 6 hits, a couple walks, 4 punch outs. Betancourt a 1-2-3. 28 pitch 8th inning. A lot of foul balls that inning. And Garrett Jones fouls off the first pitch from Houston Street. It's Jones, Walker, and Lyle Overbeck. So Houston will see 3 left-handed bats. Walker's a switch hitter. Rockies are selective where they put on the shift, but they utilize it with Garrett Jones. 3 on the right side of the diamond. 0-2. He's got him. Wow. George, I had him struck out.
Well, a little bit off the plate, but it's a good plan by Houston Street to really overthrow it a little bit, put it right on that outer edge, just try to get him to chase it.
I don't think he's going to look at that one again there. He doesn't, and he serves it to right field for a base hit. So Garrett Jones with a single on a changeup. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. Neil Walker is 2 for 3. Rockies have turned 3 double plays in the ball game. Lefties coming in 4 for 26 against Houston, now 5 for 27.
Part of that's a changeup. Even though he gave up the hit to Jones on the changeup, it's still been a very good pitch for him against left-handers.
Rockies went 3-2 on that abbreviated road trip. They lost one game in Chicago. Houston had the save in the 3 victories, each one of them. 64-71 in a Rockies uniform. And this is a long run for Carlos Gonzalez. And look at Cargo. And whenever you see something like that, check out his foot. I think of Brad Hopp, George, a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe last year. Was it last year, I think, with Brad when he ran into the stands and
trying to brace himself. He knows he's getting ready to hit that thing, and it's more the hip and the ankle that goes under there. It's not padded down around where your shoes are. Houston Street has retired just 10 of 17 leadoff men. You'd like to see that number a little bit higher. The National League average for closers 78%.
2-2. The 64-71 converts to 90.1% conversion rate on a save opportunities. It's the highest percentage in Rockies history. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Walker's gone.
So
One out in the 9th inning.
A lot of times on those reports, when you start looking at them and your manager goes over the things with the hitting coach, and they say, hey, look, when he gets ahead, he's been really throwing that changeup a lot. That's when you sneak that hard heater down and in, and you get the strikeout. See, look at that movement on that fastball, too. You got it right by Walker.
Over base, 0 for 3, runner going. And Ionetta's throw to second is not quite in time. And Garrett Jones gets the bag. If he gets thrown out there, George.
Well, I'm not sure it was on his own.
I know, but
I think Clint's smart enough that he would, you know what I'm saying? I don't think he was putting it. No. He didn't want him going. He'd have had to stop on.
Todd's playing behind him, but he's still it was still a relatively close play. Pulled to help. Nice try. Well done by Todd Helton. He's made a couple of 5 defensive plays tonight. He has started a couple of double plays. 2 outs in the 9th.
And a nice backhand this time by Todd Helton. You think of all those double plays, gets the ball and has the ability to get up, toss the ball right to Houston Street. A little bit of a high toss. There's a reason for that. As the ball descends, it's easier for a pitcher to adjust to catch the ball than to throw it low and have them bend over, get tied up with their hands. Nice job by Helton.
Chris Snyder is 1 for 2 and a walk tonight. Pirates down to their final out. In the air to left field. Gonzalez near the line. Slides and can't make the catch. Wind was blowing it close to the wall, and there's no question in my mind George, his collision a few minutes ago with the wall affected him on that particular play.
Well, obviously this ball a little bit away from that wall, but still he hears Tulowitzki coming, here's everything else coming, and he just kind of hit the dirt early. That's probably why he did not have the ability to make this catch, but you know what, still stinging the effects from that last chance.
Oh, 0-2 on Snyder. He let that one go. 92-mile-an-hour fastball up and away. Ball and 2 strikes. Final ball game in the month of April in the Rockies' 19th season. (16-8). Looking for number 17. Line drive to right. It's foul. Rockies began the day 3.5 up on the Dodgers. Dodgers are scoreless right now in the 3rd inning. Out west against the Padres at Dodger Stadium. Giants won 2-1 earlier in Washington against the Nationals. 1-2 again on Snyder. He's got it. And the Rockies finish the month of April 17-8, which ties the club record for wins in the opening month of the season. They win the ball game 4-1. Jason Hamels now 3-1. Paul Maholm drops to 1-4. Houston Street with 10 April saves, the previous record for saves by a Rockies pitcher in the opening month of the season. Jose Jimenez with 7 back in 2002.
Nice pitch from Houston Street. Rode that fastball very hard with some late tail right down the middle. I know Snyder a little disappointed, but it was a good pitch and a good night for Chris Iannetta. A 3-run home run and caught a beautiful game behind the plate.
Yes, he did. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the ball game brought to you by Jimmy John's. Jason Hamel tonight. He gave up a home run to Andrew McCutchen leading off the game, and then he didn't allow the Pirates much. There was a couple innings where they had a little something going, and he got double play ground balls on 3 occasions. Jason Hamel improves to 3-1. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys. Rockies win it 4-1. It was a terrific month of April. It's not done yet because the Toyota postgame show is next.